Welcome back to Survivor with all the Fixins. I'm your host, Max Dawson. With me, as always, the lovely Corinne Kaplan.
The meat is so tender.
Yes, it was.
How's that winner pick looking?
I didn't think about that until you just played that clip, that my winner pick technically could have won if he wasn't medevaced. So I feel like there's a clause in here that makes me still kind of right.
Well, yeah, your winner pick did go further than anyone else's winner pick. I don't think I had a winner pick. I don't really do that. I don't think it's possible or even necessarily interesting to make a winner pick.
Well, traditionally, whoever I pick definitely won't win.
Yeah.
I have a 0 record. I've done it 7 times. I've gotten it right 0.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, reality is he was going to go to the end.
Yeah, he was going to go to the end.
Yeah.
And he had a very good chance of not getting any votes and taking home a nice $50,000. And that would have been a pretty good day at the beach for a 71-year-old.
Yeah.
Instead,
I wonder, do people listening know that? So what happens with the prize money? So everybody gets 10 grand for showing up at the finale. And then it goes starting at like 2,500 up and up and up. And when you hit the jury, it goes up by 10 grand each, depending on the season. So the second place gets 100, then it goes to 75, and then it goes 65, 55, 45, and it goes down from there. You know that, right?
Yeah.
That's how it was my first season. My second season was a little different because there was more people. But so Joe, by getting medevaced in 5th place versus going to 3rd, is a difference of quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, that beef just cost him a couple grand.
Yeah, and I mean, we're going to talk all about this. We're going to bring in our special medical correspondent.
Yeah, special hot doctor correspondent Marcus Lehman will be joining us.
Because I have a lot of questions. I know a lot about the problem he had.
You know a lot about prostates.
I do. I used to sell a drug for prostates. So I am actually quite experienced in this area.
And it's just from the professional experience?
Yeah, it's not from palpating them myself.
Okay, sure.
But yeah, so we're really excited to dive into this because, I mean...
Listen, from dicks to prostates, we cover the entire
we got,
urinary tract.
Right. We do the from taint to... Yeah.
So, Corinne, let's have a little bit of an update on the Twitter verification situation.
It's been a nightmare.
Yeah.
I
Careful
am so
what you wish for.
Sorry I ever tried to do this. So... what happened is that if you guys are following the story, I really wanted to get verified, mostly so that when I tweet at celebrities, they'll get a notification, actually entirely because of that. And I asked my sweet, loving army to please make a bunch of fake accounts, assuming that when they made the fake accounts, they wouldn't really be tweeting from them. They would just be casually like, hey, I'm the real Corinne. And then that would be the joke and that'd be it.
Yeah. Now,
one of the fake accounts, who actually asked me if they could be nominated for best fake account, actually life ruined. So it started I wake up one day and I have a direct message from Dawn, and it is a long 3-paragraph letter. I'm so sorry. I feel like you're still hurt. I know that it's hard for these feelings to go away. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I write back hey, I don't know what prompted this, but I'm not mad and I'm definitely not still hurt. And it is what it is. I don't know why, because you could tell she was really upset.
Oh, yeah. Dawn is sensitive.
Yes. And she goes, well, why did you tweet that then? And I go, I don't know what you're talking about. And she goes, oh my God, it wasn't you. It's a fake. Then I go and I look at this fake. And the fake had used my exact handle, except instead of an I, it was an uppercase L.
Lowercase L.
Lowercase L. See, when I actually saw this, I was freaking out. I texted you and you were like, no, there is a difference.
The bio is the same. The pictures are the same.
So every single person was looking at it oh, it says Corinne Sanity.
Myself included.
Yeah. So this was a nightmare situation for me because then I get a message from Caleb. Hey, what the, what's going on? Because they were messaging Caleb about his dick pics. And then I get fucking this one chat my ass worse than any of them. Somebody screenshot Sugar on Facebook bragging to all of her friends on Facebook oh, her only claim to fame is losing to me, which, by the way, you didn't win. I didn't lose to you. I lost to Bob Crawley. I don't know what your rewriting history is. But she started promoting that shit everywhere. Obviously too stupid to understand that was not me.
Because someone had forwarded her a tweet by the fake Corinne saying something shitty about Corinne. Oh, so saying something about her child.
Yeah, it wasn't even, it was oh, you had a kid. I didn't even know you were married. And then she responds I have a gorgeous husband, kissy face. Are you kidding? You know I would never ask about someone's kid. I certainly don't care about yours. And I was just the very idea that she's using, she's so stupid. We have each other blocked, okay? So she should know that if someone's tweeting at her and she can see it, which in this case she could, that it wasn't me.
Yeah, somehow I think that got right past her.
Forget it.
The fake Corinne army is deep.
Yeah.
And as Corinne said, they're not innocuous. They're not just, hey, I'm Corinne, trying to create some confusion.
Right. They're really trying to ruin my life.
They're creating havoc, but in the best possible way. And I commend them. And in fact, I wanted to commend some of them who have created some really excellent tweets. I've collected some of what I think are the best of the fake Corinne tweets.
Okay.
Now, I've been implicated in this as well. Someone tweeted at Shireen with the fake Corinne account, the real good one, which is the real bad one, saying, hey, why don't you get over it and talk to Max again or something like that.
Oh God. See, this is the thing. This person actually like went and like tweeted like nasty things at Andrea and like tweeted at my friend Matt Donnelly. Like Matt hit me and was like, dude, he knew immediately like it wasn't me.
Yeah.
But he was like, you got to shut this down because this looks crazy. And I'm like, it's really difficult. Like I barely have enough time to podcast. Like for me to have time to then like calm down all of these people. And I'm not even reaching most of them because I didn't realize like the depth of this. It's been a complete nightmare and I'm so annoyed that I ever asked for this. So
okay.
No more. And it's not helped. I hit up Twitter in various different ways. I even reported that account. They had it suspended. Like Twitter does not give a fuck.
No.
I don't know why they don't care.
I think they're just laughing. I mean, I'm sure that they're monitoring all of this. They're listening to the podcast. They know how badly you want to get verified, and they're just fucking with you.
Yeah.
So some of the best fake Corinne tweets. Now, this is from Corinsanity with lowercase L's instead of I's. If you're not listening to my podcast, #Survivor ATF, with my ass-eating fag hag FY Maxwell, then you can go exfoliate Susie's dirty back.
Huh. Well, they're certainly listening to the podcast. They have a bunch of...
They definitely are. If the more I see Vince at Max's house for each show, the more I want to ride his face. Stay tuned for next week. So hopefully Vince isn't on this because you might be having him show up at your house.
Some of them, when they're really outlandish, it's so obvious it's not me. But the other ones where he's like seriously just like upsetting people, it's really bad. Like, please, please, please stop. It's just horrible.
Here's from Kaplan Corinne. I was totally bullshitting when I told FY Maxwell that I don't smoke weed. It so helps with the nausea from my bulimia. #420.
Oh, I'm so flattered. They think I'm skinny enough to seem like I might have an eating disorder. That's amazing.
Also from Kaplan Corinne. I feel a little gross that I agreed to a threesome with the Jasons after the finale, but I want to go so bad.
Oh, you know what Jason said to me? He goes, are you aware that you proposed a threesome with my wife and I? And I was like, no, I was not.
Oh, and here's one that's really on point. I can't wait for ATF to be established enough that I can stop watching fucking Survivor.
That's true. I could have tweeted that. That's the most realistic one.
And then the last one for the night from Kaplan Corinne, at Kaplan Corinne. Whoops, can't tweet anymore tonight. The Lakers just showed up drunk and horny.
Oh, I wish that were true.
From at me Corinne Kaplan, and I love the names.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just watching two broke girls, so funny.
See, these people are like, there's something I
like.
They
are listeners.
Yeah, they're definitely listeners, and they like know my Twitter account and they know my personality. I wondered too if some of them were like hoping I would become the person that they're tweeting about. Like, hoping I would do the things that they're doing.
Well, I was, because one of the things that was tweeted by at @Corinsufferable,
I love
which
that name.
I think is the best name.
Yeah.
At FY Maxwell, quote, if you don't lick your girl's asshole, someone has or someone will. And they attribute that quote to Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
#Survivor ATF. Does he actually say that?
Yeah, he does.
Well,
yeah.
I was hoping that you would adopt that philosophy yourself. Also, that account, Corinsufferable, unsolicited dick pics are my jam. #Survivor ATF.
I like that.
Did you get anything in the...
No, I didn't.
No?
No, but that freaking breast augmentation account keeps sending me messages asking me to tell my story. I'm like, the story is I was flat, now I have tits. Yeah. There's the whole story.
Well, no new dick pics this week, but still getting a lot of mileage out of the green dick. People wanting to know, people ask, people say, like, how much do I have to give in order to see the green dick?
I feel like we would show people the dick before we would tell them whose it is.
Yes.
Right? We will probably
You don't think
never.
that would give it away?
No.
Does the dick look like its owner?
No, I don't think so. I don't think you could ever imagine a dick looking like, I told you, unless this was Oscar the Grouch's dick. Like, it would have to be like a green Muppet of sorts.
Yeah. At Corinsanity with 2 N's, I just still don't understand how someone can send a green dick pic.
I don't. That's true.
Here's from Corinsanity with an E. I love it when at FY Maxwell licks my asshole just before we start the podcast, gets my shit right.
See, I don't know where they got this idea that I have this like overly vulgar sexual, like that's the direction they pretty much all went in.
Yeah.
Whereas it's you that has the vulgarity. I am not.
Listen, if you're suggesting that I created any of these, I categorically deny it. Although some of them have tweeted stuff that I wish I tweeted or that I wish I came up with. Sorry, FY Maxwell, I got to drop you. This is Core Insanity, I think the original one with the lowercase L's. Sorry, FY Maxwell, I got to drop you. You're lowering my stock with your kale and ginger boners. Another one from the same account. EDM has a small dick.
That actually really freaked me out.
Tags me, you, Casey, Franny, Mike Holloway, Denise, and Scott.
So Mike texts me and he goes, "Oh, I guess you're blowing up his spot." I was like, "Mike, you met him. He's 6'8". He doesn't have a small dick. Like, clearly that's not true." That's like, couldn't be further from the truth. But I was like, fuck, I really hope that like somewhere he is not thinking that I'm like,
well, the next tweet from that same guy, I don't have it here, but it was something along the lines of, Mike Holloway, your dick was still the best.
Oh.
So.
Well, I've never seen Mike's dick, but I'm sure it's beautiful.
Hopefully it's not green.
No.
And here's a great tweet that wasn't from one of the fake accounts, but I loved it so much that I thought it warranted reading on the air. It's from @EthanMatos. And he said, FY Maxwell at Core Insanity, I think you guys have successfully made listening to Survivor ATF into an official gay stereotype.
I retweeted it. I loved it.
Thank you so much, Ethan.
You.
We are so flattered.
Goals.
We are so flattered also by all of the people who have donated to the patron group. And we are getting geared up to have our first patron group Google Hang.
Yes.
If you're a patron, you got an email today giving you a little bit of background and info. So keep your eye out for information. Thinking we might also start a secret or special Facebook page just for the patrons so we can communicate directly with them. We are soliciting from our patrons ideas about what they would like to get in exchange for their donations. And we have already told you about all the times we've hung out with, partied, and sit in on the podcast various patrons.
Yeah, I mean, my goal would be, if it was possible to meet every patron, like when I'm in their city or whatever, like I'll always try and do that. We also felt like, so we're gonna, because you guys hear we bleep things out of episodes because what happens is I like to speak freely and then I just am like, ooh, I shouldn't have said that. Like take that out or take that guy's name out. Or I don't want to say, what so-and-so does for a living and then they'll figure it out. So we're going to actually release most of that information to our patron group. That's part of the goal, is that you guys would be privy to stuff that regular people wouldn't. Yeah,
stuff that gets bleeped out, you can ask us about in the patron group. Whoa. And we will hopefully be able to answer those questions. Some questions we're not going to be able to answer.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going to tell you who's got the green dick.
Yeah, we won't do that.
You keep guessing about that. Yeah. But to find out about how to join the patron group, go to survivoratf.com. You'll also find there links to all of our social media, episode guides, pictures, videos, all sorts of fun stuff, plus links to listen to or download to every episode of all the Fixins. SurvivorATF.com. That's your one-stop shopping for everything all the Fixins related.
I wanted to bring up while we're on the topic that my friend boy from Santa Barbara was over last Sunday. He showed up on my doorstep for Mother's Day because I could be his mother. I don't know.
Thanks.
And I mentioned, he had no idea that I had a podcast or that I do anything.
Oh.
I mentioned that I had it and that I've mentioned him on the podcast, but just as my friend boy. And he was like, you can actually just use my name. Like, I'm totally fine with that. So I'm going to play the video of him saying this because we'll put this on our Facebook so you guys can all see what my very gorgeous friend boy in Santa Barbara looks like.
Yeah, and this is basically him giving verbal consent.
Colin, what did you want to say?
I hereby give Corinne Kaplan full release to use my name.
Ah, my favorite friend boy.
Full release, exactly what you gave him.
Yeah. So the funny thing is I was like, I said friend boy, and so it's not meant to be derogatory because I wasn't sure how he was going to take it.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't care, that's fine. So he is the one I've been talking about. He is the strength coach at men's volleyball in UC Santa Barbara.
So I don't have to beep out.
No, you don't. Call
anything.
Nope.
Related to college campuses anymore.
And so we'll let you guys see what he looks like just so you can see what my taste is like.
Yeah, take a look on survivoratf.com. We'll have that. And everything we talk about in this week's episode, we'll put up links or photos, videos, all the stuff you need to
go look at it. We
fully enhanced Survivor ATF experience.
I was going to say we put a lot of work into it, but really Max puts all the work in. I send him stuff, but I don't know how to add it.
Well, you put a lot of work into creating your life, which is the work of art that this website is dedicated to. Speaking of speed dating this weekend.
Yeah, guys, tomorrow night I will be sitting down. Actually, I won't be. No, I will be. So all the women
You'll be
sit.
sitting, they stand.
They circulate. And it's in Studio City. And I honestly, if I met somebody there, would be blown away.
Yeah.
Basically, I rate them and I say if I want any of them, if I like any of them. And if I like them and they also like me, then they give each other's contact information. The problem is that if swiping is any indication, I can tell you that for sure when I'm swiping on like one of my dating apps, well, I'm only on one now. I'm on Bumble. I must swipe, I don't know, 30 guys before I swipe yes on one.
Yeah.
So the idea that I'm going to be in a room with 15 guys and like one of them is so low.
Yeah.
It's like almost not possible.
And so remind me, you signed up specifically for undergraduates or something like that?
I wanted to do that one. Older women looking for younger men, but the dates didn't work out. And in order for me to get it done, I had to just do whichever one was this Saturday. So
and what is this Saturday?
It's just like regular. It's like people in their 30s.
It's just desperate people looking for
just
desperate
losers.
people.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But I'm going to go tomorrow at 7:00. So I'm sure I will have stories from that.
Okay. Any action in San Francisco while you were up in the Bay?
So I swiped this is what I do when I'm in the other cities. I will sometimes go on dates because I'm at night, like I have client stuff sometimes, but a lot of times I'm just eating in the hotel bar.
And by eating, she means drinking.
Well, of course, I'm eating the olive that goes in the dirty martini. Yeah. So I was like, oftentimes I will swipe, and if I see somebody, the only people I will meet are the ones that say in their profile how tall they are, and they're extremely tall. So like I'm talking like pretty much like over 6'5", I'll swipe yes because I don't need to meet you if you're just a regular height person in another city. I'm not trying to do long distance, but you get put in a special category if you're super tall. So I swipe yes on a guy that's 6'9", and he swiped yes back.
Okay, you sent me a screen cap of his Bumble page.
Yeah.
Every single one of this guy's 6 pictures was dedicated to somehow demonstrating his height. One, he was working on the ceiling, and it didn't look like he was using a ladder.
He was just hammering a nail into the ceiling.
Another one, he was dunking a basketball.
Yeah, that's right.
A third one, he was standing around a bunch of people who looked like midgets compared to him.
It looked like Scott Pollard with everyone on his season.
It did.
Yeah.
The guy knew his market.
Yeah, he did. So he was like super nice. I met him. He took me on like a tour of the city, which was fucking awesome. He took me to like a bar that's been there since 1908. He had all this history on it. So the date was fine. I mean, like whatever, it was fine. But at the end of the date, he did something so interesting. I've never had this happen before, and it was like such a bizarre but like kind of adorable thing to do. He's, taking me back to the hotel. He even took me to like a scenic spot. He was like, if you would feel comfortable getting in the car with me, because I just met him at the bar, I'd love to take you to the scenic like overlook to look at the Golden Gate Bridge. And I was like, oh, this is the part where you kill me.
Yeah,
cool.
the murder, the rape, and then murder, and then dispose the body.
Yeah, I am like so convinced that like it is you that will die if you try and do that. Like I am not the person you end up killing. Anyways, so I go to the scenic overlook, and then he goes to drop me back. Perfect gentleman, brings me back to my hotel. And then he says, if you don't mind me asking, I was wondering if you could let me know what I did right and wrong on the date so that I may improve. And I'm like, oh my God,
whoa.
What? Yes. So I was like, well, you were a few minutes late, which is fine. Like I get that he couldn't find a parking spot, which I'm like, why didn't you just valet? But all right. So I said to him, I go, if I were you, I would get everywhere, like whatever date you're going on, like 30 minutes, 20 minutes early, get the best table, settle down, get the waitress to come over, read the menu before. Like that's what I would do if I was a dude. Yeah. And he was like, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm like, so 4 out of 5 stars. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, this is an interesting way. And I didn't ask him because I don't take criticism well. I don't want to know.
Well, I was going to say, and then you asked me this weird question at the end, which made everything awkward and meta.
Right. So basically, I'm just getting you ready to be better at dating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're good practice.
Yeah. So that was my date in San Fran.
All right.
I'll be in Denver.
I feel like
I'm announcing tour dates.
Yes.
Yeah. So I go next week. I'm here because I obviously want to see Jason and Denise.
Yeah.
And whoever else is on that season. Are there other people on that season? Is Denise not on that season?
Yeah, I don't know.
And the week after, I'm in Denver, and then I will go to upstate New York. Which, funny story about upstate New York. We're going to do the Love Coffin, not right now, because Josh is in Amsterdam.
Okay.
And
that's Love Coffin Part 2, guys.
But another funny story from upstate is that there's a guy that works in the bar. There's only one bar. Oh, did I already tell this?
No, you've told me about the bar. You've told me about your dad's rules about upstate.
Yes.
About boys.
Yes. But in the bar in particular, there is a cute bartender there. And I was drinking at the bar. It's the only bar you can drink at. It's literally the only place you can go in this town. So I went to the bar with my brother and my sister-in-law, and I was outside and I heard a ruckus inside. I walk back inside and I see the bartender is tumbling, like fighting, physically fighting with a very large patron that is extremely drunk. So I do what nobody should ever do. And I fucking dive into the fight thinking I'll break it up. And I get hit.
Whoa.
Like I get hit a few times. And my brother pulls me out. My brother's looking at me like, what the fuck? Why would you possibly do that? So I kind of saved this guy, the bartender.
Yeah.
Because while he was sober and the drunk guy was drunk, the drunk guy was like 4 times his size. Not that the bartender is small. It's just the drunk guy was like a big dude.
So is that your motivation for 2 big guys tussling on the floor? You're going to roll in
I was like,
and get
let me get in on this.
Yeah. Is that...
Well, so, all right. So the drunk guy, the cops come. He gets ushered out. Well, now I'm talking to the bartender.
Did you get his number before he left?
No, he wasn't attractive. He was not.
Oh.
It wasn't that he was tall. He was like fat. Like he was like just a big, huge guy.
Okay.
So the bartender and I'm like, I start joking with him. I'm like, I saved your life. Like you owe me. And he's like, well... so he's like, well, how about I take you out to another bar? There are other bars. I'm like, there are? Because there's no cabs. This is the most annoying thing about upstate. There's no cabs. There's definitely not Uber, but there's not even cabs that run after 10 p.m.
Yeah.
So you can't, and this is part of the coffin story you'll hear at a later date. My dad goes to sleep and then I call him and wake him up and he picks me up. Because it's the only way I can get home.
How old are you?
I even bought a bicycle at like a Goodwill store there, thinking maybe I could bicycle around.
Yeah.
But it was like, there's no lights on the streets. It's pitch fucking dark. So I can't even bike to the bar. So I have to have my dad pick me up. Anyway, so this fellow, I get in his car and he's like, and he's adorable. And I get in his car, and when I'm in his car, I realize his car is one of those like souped up, like where there's like one of those seatbelts that's like a race car driver seatbelt. And I'm like,
that's not a good sign.
No, but I'm like, this, because when I was in high school, everyone used to get like neon under their cars and like bullshit, like, hydraulics and just garbage, right? Because I was a Floridian.
Yeah.
But he had them, and there was stickers. There was also like no effects stickers and stuff.
No.
So I'm like, what is happening right now? And so I look at him, and in the most horrible moment, I'm like, how old are you?
Ooh.
Yeah. And he's like, how old are you? And I'm like, well, I'm definitely not telling you. And he's like, well, then let's not worry about it. So now we go to the bar and we start making out. Like he's sitting on the bar, so I'm making out with him. I'm having the time of my life. And one of his friends comes over and is like clearly very young. And I was like, I ask the friend, I go, how do you guys know each other? And he goes, we went to school together. I go, how old are you? And he goes, 19. And I'm like, are you fucking 19? And he's like, yeah, but I'm an old soul. I'm like, oh my God.
Whoa.
Cut to, I've already notified him that I will be back in town.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, now he's 20.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
it was a year ago.
It's a year closer to being able to drink.
Like, I don't even understand. What is wrong with like my vision? Like, why can't I tell?
I don't know.
He does. I mean, I thought he looked of normal age. Well, P.S. I tell my parents and they were like, you did what? First of all, don't dip the pen in company ink. That's the only bar you have and he's the only bartender. Yeah. Like, do you really want to piss him off?
Well,
like,
they also have a policy against locals too.
They don't think they don't want me to bring locals back to our house because they're concerned that since we're only there part of the year, then it would just be like, oh, well, this is a sitting duck house. Like you can go rob it whenever you want. They're never here. So that's annoying. That's a caveat that my parents enforce, which is really stupid.
Fuck you! You clean those fixins up right now.
Yeah, big boy. From now on, you gotta clean up your own fixes.